Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for a very special and exciting Barbados webinar. My name is Anna. I'm an Industry Relations Manager here at CHUKKA, and I'm going to just quickly go through some housekeeping before introducing our presenters. This webinar will run about 45 minutes with time for questions at the end. Feel free to type your questions into the questions module of the webinar, and we'll get to them at the conclusion of the presentation. The webinar is being recorded and will be posted on CLIA's YouTube channel, which is CLIA Global. And with that, it is my pleasure to introduce our presenters, Tia Bruns and Steve Modry. We are so lucky to be joined today by Tia from Barbados Tourism Marketing and Steve from Seabourn Cruises. They both have a lot of exciting information to share on the restart of cruising in the Caribbean. I know we've all been anxiously waiting for it, so let's just get right to it, Tia and Steve.
Thank you so much, Anna. Good afternoon, travel advisors. It's been a while. I have my camera off just to help with the feed. You know how these technological glitches go sometimes. But thank you all so much for joining us. As I said, it's been a while. It's so good to connect with you after the hiatus due to COVID. So as Anna said, I'm here this afternoon with Steve from Seabourn to share on, the developments in Barbados as we reopen for tourism and for cruising especially. And Steve, our partner, our value partner with Seabourn, he's going to be sharing on all the exciting news with their itineraries, so important out of Barbados, and all of that good stuff. So I'm going to start us off with a short video.
Through all my travels, I've done an island without any advantage. Through Barbados, I've seen a lot. Even through your people, through your food, even through the crowd. The way we travel completely changed, but it's the best feeling to have because of everything right now. So when I reimagine like Barbados is
Okay. All right. So as most of you would know, we're the easternmost island in the Caribbean, and there's a ship sailing towards the island, just to give you an idea of where we are for those who may have forgotten. As you know, all travelers to Barbados do need a valid passport in order to enter the island. And I know that protocols, a lot of you may be wondering, what are the entry requirements, especially for cruisers. And this information obviously will help you to, assist your clients with making the best travel decisions and obviously in keeping them safe as well. So for cruisers flying to Barbados and travelers in general, you need to take a PCR test 3 days before your arrival, and you have to present proof of that test at the airport. And we accept the standard COVID-19 tests, which have to be taken at an accredited lab or by a healthcare provider. And the type of test that we require is the nasopharyngeal or the oropharyngeal sample. So we don't accept lab tests, the self-administered tests, rapid tests, or the saliva samples. So prior to your arrival into the island, you have to go online at the website noted here and upload and fill out, the immigration and customs information. You also have to upload a copy of the test, and for those travelers who are vaccinated, a copy of that vaccine certification as well. And you also have to bring a copy with you for verification at the airport. So for travelers coming to the island to pick up a cruise, you land at the airport. You're not tested at the airport if you are going directly to the port to embark. So you're transported in what we call a star corridor from the airport to the British port to embark the cruise. What is a star corridor? It's just really a route between the airport and seaport or to your approved accommodation using our designated taxi and transport operators, obviously following the protocols. A lot of our transportation operators and taxi drivers underwent a series of trainings, to ensure that they keep both themselves and the travelers they're transporting safe throughout the process. So there's no interaction in between there. There are no stops. So you go directly from airport to seaport. We'll talk about pre-stays for those who fly in before the cruise a bit later. So what is the definition of a fully vaccinated traveler? A traveler who would have received the full regimen of whichever vaccine. So if it's, for example, the 1-dose Johnson & Johnson, or maybe the Pfizer, which requires 2 doses. And then you have to clear that incubation period of 2 weeks prior to travel to be considered fully vaccinated. So an unvaccinated traveler is someone who's not been vaccinated at all, does not have evidence of being vaccinated, would have used one of the vaccines that's not on our approved list, or would only have a 1 jab of a 2 jab regimen, or did not clear the 2 weeks post the final regimen. So these are the approved vaccines in Barbados. We have the Oxford AstraZeneca. I'm not sure if you guys are using that in the US. We have Moderna, we have Pfizer, J&J, and we recently added the Chinese vaccine, believe it or not, Sinopharm to the list. So can travelers book pre and post stays who are coming to embark cruises? Of course. So for the pre-stays, you would follow the standard entry protocols into Barbados, which would include the rapid PCR test, which is the follow-up test done at the airport upon arrival. And the guarantee there is that you get back those results within 24 hours. So for those of you booking your clients to come to the island for a pre-stay, I would advise that you give them a bit more. I know a lot of guests do a 1 night pre the cruise, but I would say give it up to 2 nights just to be on the safe side. For post stays, you have to disembark with either a rapid or standard PCR test. And we're working with our port team to have a facility set up at the port for those cruise ships who may not be able to conduct testing on board prior to the ship returning. So as I said just now, so for those who travel into the island to do a pre-stay, we highly recommend that you take the test at the airport so that you don't have to go to your hotel, then to wait to get the test, then to wait for the test results. So that kind of helps to fast track the process. For those cruisers who will be spending time on the island before flying out, you have to disembark with the PCR test because you'll be roaming about the island. So a rapid PCR test is acceptable in that instance. For transit calls for cruises beginning in other territories, like for example, a lot of cruises coming this way are beginning in St. Martin. So Barbados is requiring that you, 3 days before arrival into Barbados, you take this PCR test in order to disembark and move around freely on the island. Bubble tours, well, at the moment, we are not allowing passengers to disembark and roam in the traditional way. The cruise lines pretty much came up with this term bubble tours, but along with the bubble tours, which are the short excursions purchased on board the vessel, we've also come up with a set of supervised short excursions that we're offering from the Port of Bridgetown in the taxi dispatch area, where you can disembark, take a taxi, and take one of those approved short excursions and go around the island, and many of them include a beach stop. So still trying to, maintain that balance so that your clients will be able to see, a lot of what the island has to offer. If you're flying in, it's pretty easy to get here even under the circumstances. We have JetBlue twice daily out of JFK from now until November. We have service out of New York on Saturdays, every Saturday. We also have weekly service on Saturdays out of Boston through November. And that will obviously ramp up to twice weekly as we head into the winter season. We have our long-standing service with American out of Miami, which used to be a daily service, but now it's offered 5 times weekly. But that will move to daily come October, and then twice daily as we head into the thick of things between November and December. Our Charlotte service is still running, Saturdays only for now up until November, and then we do twice weekly through December. So it's, pretty easy. We're through the arrangement with Royal Caribbean, as many of you would have heard, with their home porting operations plan for December. We're looking at getting additional airlift out of Dulles, Washington, and Newark as well. So stay tuned for that. Barbados, we continue to remain the home porting hub in the Southern Caribbean, and cruise ships are slowly resuming operations. And here's a snapshot of the lanes who we expect to call through the winter. But as you can appreciate, the situation remains fluid. So this is likely to change with some other lanes being added. So on June 7th, we had the return of the Millennium, which is home porting out of St. Martin and making transit calls. Barbados is one of their stops. So, that's another thing to consider. And of course, Seabourn, as Steve will talk a bit more about later on, will be home porting from July 18th, offering 7 to 14 night itineraries. And Atlas, which is one of the newest cruise lines on the market, will be commencing their inaugural sailings out of Barbados in October, and they're also having their christening ceremony on the island. So that will be a first for Barbados, the first Caribbean island to host a vessel christening. So lots happening there. So as I said, for those booking a pre and post stay on the island, we have a bit of something for everyone, from the budget traveler right up to luxury. And that we have that wide range of accommodation. We also have a very big villa market. So for those who don't want to stay at the typical type accommodation, which hotel, guest house, you can do that very intimate villa experience. And obviously, most of our properties are guaranteed beachfront. So what's new? CHUKKA, which many of you may know, one of the biggest tour operators throughout the Caribbean, all the way over to Mexico, has taken over management of our number one attraction, Harson's Cave. So it's set to reopen next week, July 2nd. And they'll also be adding a number of new and exciting features to the Harson's Cave experience with the Eco Adventure Park. So we're going to keep you updated as those developments continue. But there's plans for zip line, oh my goodness, swimming pool, number of things that they're going to be adding to that experience, which are very much family oriented. So our signature events, obviously, even though we relax certain restrictions and we try to get back to a level of normalcy, our Crop Over Festival remains our signature festival. We may have it this year, but on a very small scale. We're still waiting on the word on what will be happening with Crop Over. So obviously COVID has changed the landscape of our monthly events. So a number of things are still on hold, a number of events are still uncertain. So Crop Over, and obviously our Food and Rum Festival, our signature culinary event, which normally happens between October to November. We're still awaiting on the green light as to whether that event will go ahead. So, just events to bear in mind. And of course, Barbados is the perfect wedding destination, honeymoon destination. So you can arrive on a cruise ship, you can still get married. The process is very simple. There are no residency requirements, no wait time for the license, but the bride and groom do have to be live in person to make the application at our Home Affairs office, but very easy process. And of course, get married in Barbados, and what better place to honeymoon than at one of our lovely private villas on the beach. And obviously, your swimming pool would be the sea, and you'll have access to all those very intimate type experiences for couples. And for those of you who may not yet be Barbados specialists, we encourage you to go to the Barbados Elite Club website and sign up and become a Barbados specialist. There are so many great benefits. There's opportunities for joint marketing and support if you're having events at your agency, or whatever information you may need on the island. Obviously, there are farms. We're looking to reinstitute our farm visits as we come out of COVID. So many opportunities there for becoming a Barbados specialist. So at this point, I'm going to pass you over to Steve, who's going to tell you about Seabourn and its summer voyages from Barbados. Take it away, Steve.
Thank you so much, Tia. And gosh, it looks like such a stunning destination in Barbados. I've actually never been, but I'm excited because I will be sailing on one of those initial sailings on Seabourn. I'll get into those details, but in August I plan to be there, so looking forward to seeing all the beauty and all the wonderful things that Barbados has to offer. So we are super excited to be returning to sail starting next month, actually, and Tia mentioned it, on July 18th. So let's go to the next slide, if you would. And I think you've got control, Tia, so if you could advance to the next slide, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'm not sure when my system is glitching. Go ahead. You're good.
Okay, next slide. Okay, next slide. I think you have to advance the slides, Tia. There we go.
Okay.
And if you could mute on your end, Tia. Okay. So here's what we have. Again, we're starting on July 18th. We've got 2 7-day itineraries. They're both really rich itineraries. I think one of the real advantages of sailing out of Barbados is you're so far south and there's so many more islands that you can visit. So we're thrilled to be doing these round trip out of Barbados. And as you can see, first we've got our Yacht Odyssey, and these visit St. Lucia, Antigua, Tortola, St. Kitts, and Grenada. And we do our marine days, which I'll get a little bit more into, in St. Kitts. And the only port that's different, or that repeats, I should say, on our Yacht Gems, the other 7-day itinerary, is St. Kitts. And again, this is our Marina Day. So, and you won't want to miss our Marina Days, which are fantastic. But on the Yacht Gems, we visit St. Lucia, Dominica, St. Martin. We go to British Virgin Islands. And then, of course, back to Barbados after St. Kitts. So really great itineraries. You can combine these into a 14-day collector. And this, again, is a great way to do it. I mean, everybody's dying to get out and travel. If you've got 14 days, what a great way to see so many different fantastic islands. Now, these will be, guests have to be vaccinated. All guests have to be vaccinated. We're trying to make the safest experience possible on board. And so we made that decision to require all guests to be vaccinated. Our crew, we're working toward getting them all vaccinated as well. So again, creating a very, very safe environment. So let's go to the next slide, please. T, if you could advance for me one slide. I think we're having a little bit of technical difficulty there. Tia, are you able to advance that for me to the next slide?
You want me to advance that for me? You want me to go back? You want me to go back one, or you want me to go forward?
Let's go forward one.
Let's go forward. Okay.
There we go. So I mentioned that we have our, and we also, when we do our marine, let's go back. I think the slides are jumping on us a little bit. Go back a couple. Go back and back one more. There we go, right there. Here's our Marina Day. So this is one of the unique features of the Seabourn ships, is that we have a marina that we open up in the back of the ship. And what we do is we create this little dock out there, and we have all these great water toys we bring out. We've got sailboats, and we've got kayaks and paddle boards, and you can snorkel. And so again, we're going to be visiting St. Kitts and opening up the ship and doing this. People love this, and again, very unique feature to Seabourn, where we're able to do this experience. Let's go to the next slide, please. The other thing we do besides our Marina Day is what we call caviar in the surf. Tia, can you advance me one slide? Tia, can you go forward one? There we go. So this is caviar.
Yeah, I think there's a lag. I think there's a lag on my end, but there you go.
Gotcha. Okay. So we'll let me just talk about this real quick, and then we'll move to the next slide. So caviar on the surf is another signature Seabourn experience where we do a barbecue on ashore on a private beach. And while we're doing the barbecue, we also bring caviar and champagne out. And let's go one more slide. So I think we've got a nice visual of what that looks like. And our crew come out and they create this really fantastic experience. There we go. So this is what it looks like. As you can see, they've got the champagne all chilled. They've got the caviar. And so you're having your great day on the beach. And then you've also got, of course, the signature Seabourn experience. And again, unique to Seabourn. Okay, let's go to the next slide. So I just want to talk about Seabourn in general. A lot of you might already know about Seabourn, but we think we have a very unique experience. You know, and it always starts with, this is an ultra luxury experience. Seabourn invented the ultra luxury segment. Our ships, we have one of the youngest, actually we have the youngest luxury fleet in the industry. But it's all about the service. It comes down to the service that our team members on board provide for our guests. It's what guests keep coming back to us and telling us what they love so much and the reason they have such loyalty to us. The crew is, you know, and what I noticed, I sailed about 3 or 4 years ago, and what really stood out to me is not only a high touch as what, you know, you definitely got to expect as a luxury product, but it's also the authenticity and the kind of the warmth that service is provided. And it blew me away, and it obviously really resonates with our guests. Let's go to the next slide, please. See if you could go to the next slide. There we go. It's an all-inclusive experience. So that includes your spirits and fine wines. We've got suites. Every single room is a suite. It's a private club atmosphere. It's much more relaxed. It's not stuffy in any way. We have world-class dining on board, including our partnership with Chef Thomas Keller. It's amazing. All of our, as I said, all oceanfront suites, and then tipping is all included as well. And the other thing that's not on here, but we are starting, beginning with these sailings, is Wi-Fi is also part of the all-inclusive experience. So we know how important that is for everybody to keep in touch as needed. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, so what we put together here is a little comparison so you could see all the other, and we're not going to name who they are, but all the other brands in the ultra luxury segment. And if you do a comparison with Seabourn, as you can see from a fleet age standpoint, we are by far the youngest fleet. We have 5 ships in our fleet, and we've got 2 new ships coming in the expedition space starting a bit later this year. Average capacity, I think our ships are a really good size. They're still large enough where we have a lot of offerings on board, but they're small enough where they get into a lot of intimate ports, and it's really great in the Caribbean. Passenger to space ratio, I think, is particularly in today's day and age. Having space on board is very important. As you can see, we lead in that regard as well. Again, the only marina on a ship. We've got brand new expedition ships, as I mentioned, coming soon. We have a partnership with UNESCO, and I think that's really important and a great feature to have that really strong partnership. And we're the only ones to have a 3-star Michelin chef. He has a total of 7 stars, and that is Chef Thomas Keller. And that restaurant is extremely popular and wonderful. So you have to take part in that when you are on board. So let's go to the next slide, please. So another thing that's really important, I think, in particular today, is to have confidence for the guests. So we have our worry-free promise, and this is a great policy to have. So with this policy, you can book with confidence and knowing that you can, if you need to, you can cancel up to 30 days prior to sailing for any reason and receive a 100% future cruise credit of any monies paid to Seabourn. And then if it's within 30 days of embarkation, and if you test positive or have been exposed to COVID-19, we will also give you a full FCC, 100% FCC. And let's go to the next slide, please. And obviously this is very important today. Now, The other thing is that we're taking care of, and that we just added this, is our COVID-19 protection program. If something, let's say something happened and a guest has symptoms while they're on board, well, we'll take care of them. We've got fantastic facilities on board. We would quarantine them, and we would give them a full FCC for whatever days of the sailing they did not get to actually be on holiday and enjoy. So we're going to compensate them there. If they're ashore and this happens, we'll put them up in a hotel. We'll take care of them. We're going to make sure that the guest is taken care of. Obviously, there's a lot of uncertainty in the world today. Again, guests are going to have to be fully vaccinated, so we think the risk is extremely low, but there's always a risk, right? And that's just the world we live in today. And so we want to make sure that guests have that reassurance that they will be taken care of and that we will be looking out for their well-being in every conceivable way. Next slide, please. We could advance one more slide, please. Now, while we're getting the slide to advance, they seem to be a little bit sticky. Another thing I want to mention is, here we go. Before I get into the resources that are available for you, we've got a great new offer that I'm going to give you a quick preview of, and this is going to be starting July 1st. Now, Tia did a great job of laying out all the different flight options that go down there. Flights right now are a little on the expensive side. So again, our new offer starting on July 1st will include a $1,000 air credit. So now they have to book through our FlightEase, which tends to be as good of air fares that you can find anywhere. But $1,000 credit is really going to make this an affordable option for your guests. So please be looking out for that. That's going to be coming soon. Again, lots of resources. We've got Go Seabourn. Now, this is our travel advisor facing portal. If you're not already on there, please go there. It's got all the information you could ever ask for, including, as Tia mentioned, the protocols and things like that are changing day to day. So we are constantly updating our FAQs on that site. So please go to seabourn.com or goseabourn.com to get the latest information. We've got our Seabourn Insider that we send out very regularly to keep you in the know of everything going on, including new offers, new products, new releases. So if you're not getting the Seabourn Insider, make sure you sign up for that. Of course, our wonderful YouTube channel, we've got wonderful video assets, so please take a look at that. Current, which is our blog, really some fantastic storytelling that goes on there. And then of course our Seabourn Academy, great option to really become educated in the Seabourn product. And what's really great about this, if you've never done it before, it's not just saying here is Seabourn and here's that product. It's also about how to sell luxury in general. So it's a great resource, not just to know Seabourn, but to know luxury in general. So, and I think that covers all the information I have, Tia. We can advance the slide. I think that might be the end. But we're really excited. We've all been waiting for this for so long. And oh, there we go. See you in Barbados. Absolutely. I plan to be there.
Thank you, Steve. Yes, and we look forward to welcoming you on your first trip to the island. Thank you so much for all that good information on Seabourn. I hope that was really helpful to the agents, in helping them sell those itineraries to their clients for this summer.
Absolutely.
So the floor is open for any questions, Anna, for Steve and myself.
Perfect. We do have some questions coming in. Can you hear me clearly?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Our first question is from Ty or Tay, who is having a bridal show event and wondering if you have printed flyers or brochures. Tia, I know that you mentioned that Barbados is an amazing wedding destination.
Yes. You can send us your details, and we'll definitely get some information off to you for your event. That's no problem.
Okay, perfect. Our next question is from Valerie, who is just wondering about getting kids to Barbados or on Seabourn. What are the stipulations since kids under 12 necessarily aren't vaccinated?
So from a seaborne standpoint, we are not making exceptions. It's really important to us that we create the safest environment possible. So we are requiring all guests, regardless of age, to be fully vaccinated. So I know that's a little bit of a challenge right now to get children vaccinated. Hopefully that's going to change soon, but that's where we are right now.
I'll also stay from the position of Barbados. Children traveling with fully vaccinated parents or adults would be considered safe. They just have to arrive with a standard PCR test. But from the destination standpoint, we're not requiring it per se.
Okay, got it. Thank you. And our next question is from Ruth. I believe both of you mentioned this, but just to clarify, Ruth is wondering, since everybody is vaccinated, will guests be free to do their own thing in every port and not in a bubble in the Caribbean?
Yeah, I'm glad that question came up because I did forget to mention that. So that's been a hot topic and a lot of questions around, can I only take the seaborne shore excursions? So this is I would say, an evolving situation. Of course, we're going to be visiting a number of other countries and islands besides Barbados. So every country is going to be a little bit different. Now, we fully expect at least some of these ports to be open for guests to go ashore alone or do a third-party shore excursion. We fully expect that to happen at some point. We are trying to finalize some of those details soon. But right now, at this moment, it's only the seaborne allowed short excursions. Now, they're fantastic. We source only the best ones. You've got protection with those. But we know that some ports, guests just want to go ashore and just enjoy that. So my advice there would be to continue to look at Go Seabourn. We're going to be updating, again, that FAQ consistently to fill you in on what the latest information is in regards to the various ports we'll be visiting.
Okay, got it. And our next question is from John, who is wondering about activities on board Seabourn and in Barbados for people with mobility issues. So can you both speak to that?
Sure, I'll go first. We are accommodating to anybody who has disabilities or mobility issues. Every experience that we have on board, we make that available to them as well. So that's extremely important. I will touch on also, since we're talking about onboard experience, that there will be some onboard protocols, even though everybody will be fully vaccinated. It's very possible that we will still require masks indoors. And social distancing to a certain extent as well. So again, this is all detailed in our FAQs at Go Seabourn, but hopefully that answers the question. Tia, do you want to comment for Barbados?
I was having issues with the mute. Sorry. So from the destination point of view, we do have most of our attractions and experiences are accessible. We appreciate that, some travelers may have mobility issues and, those who may be visually impaired and so on. So yes, quite a few of our attractions and experiences are accessible. Our port as well, so they shouldn't have any challenges at all.
Okay, got it. Thank you so much. Our next question is from Marlene. I'm sure everybody is wondering this, and I don't know if anybody really has an answer, but if you two could weigh in, do you anticipate the vaccine mandates to continue into 2022?
Well, that is the $1,000,000 question, isn't it? Yeah, I don't know the answer to that. Obviously, that's we're taking this kind of day by day. I think right now we're anticipating just for the summer season, and then as things evolve and things change, and hopefully the situation throughout the world improves from a positive case standpoint and a vaccination standpoint. So don't have an answer, but I think we're all very hopeful that in 22 it'll be not as much of a strict policy as it is right now for vaccinations.
Okay, from Barbados, well, the protocols we've developed so far for cruises are for vaccine-only cruises. I think initially, obviously, we will still be in trial mode for the next couple months as we approach the winter season. So just trying to thread very cautiously as we ramp up the operation. So at this point, it's really hard to say. We really do hope, though, that as we move into the season, we can move away from vaccine only, given the expected increase in vaccinations, you know, in the US and UK and so on, which are our major source markets. But at this point in time, that's kind of hard to say.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Our next question is for Tia from Jean. Do you know what percentage of the population of Barbados has currently been vaccinated?
I think at this point it's almost 30%. 40, yeah. Okay. So my numbers are even lower than the real numbers. Yes. So our aim is to have 70% of the population vaccinated. So we're just over the 40% mark at this point in time. And then we also have a percentage of the population who only received the 1 jab of the 2 jab. So as those people complete the regimen, then that number obviously would significantly increase. But right now it's just over 40%.
Okay, got it. And Tia, again, this question is for you. We have several people wondering if you can repeat what you said about your Barbados Academy. So if you could give some more details on that.
Okay, so it's the Barbados, let me go back to that slide. It's the BarbadosEliteClub.com. Here it is. So you can sign in, complete the course. There's also a chapter on cruise, which we're going to be revamping soon anyhow. But this is where you can sign up and take the course to become a Barbados specialist.
Okay, got it.
Also for the guy, or I'm not sure who it was that asked the question on weddings, if you could supply your email address so that we can reach out to you, that would be great. Thanks.
Yep, I already have it. I will send that over to you.
Okay, perfect.
We have one last question from Jean, who is wondering if there have been any recent updates to the cruise port.
So COVID again pretty much hampered. There were a number of plans in place to upgrade the port facility. You know, originally our port was intended for a cargo port. It's really largely still a cargo port. So the plan is to separate the cruise and cargo operations. That's still very much on the books, but because of COVID and everything that's going on, the plans are currently on hold. But you know, we definitely have the blueprint for those developments. Hopefully we'll see some movement on that by next year. There's also plans to construct a port facility at Spikestown, which is one of our smaller towns to the north of the island, to accommodate vessels such as Seabourn, so we can separate the ultra luxury from the, you know, the mega vessels. So that's also on the books as well.
Okay, got it. And those are all of our questions. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Thank you, Tia and Steve, for all of that information. It is so great to be hearing positive news about the resumption of cruising, especially in the Caribbean. And from CLIA, we hope to see you at Cruise 360, where you'll be able to see Seabourn and Barbados at the Cruise 360 trade show on Thursday, July 29th. So if you're not registered, you can head over to cruise360.org and register to attend. So thank you again, everyone, for joining us.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Stay safe and take care.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Okay.